Hello everyone. Today we are going to read an interesting story, The Invention of Vita Wonk. This story is written by Roald Dahl. He is an amazing writer who wrote this interesting story about an invention made by Mr. Willy Wonka, who tried to change his formula to make a different potion to cover up the things his previous invention didn't work out on. Who are the oldest people you know? Yes, we can think about our grandparents and different relatives of ours who we can consider as the oldest people we know. What are the oldest things you have in your house? So you can ask from your parents or your grandparents about it, that what's the oldest thing in your house that you want to think about, you want to know about more. And you can expect the answers like where did it come from, and where do you find it, where your parents find that thing, or where your grandparents find that thing, and what's the story behind that thing that is the oldest thing in your house. You also have to think about the oldest things you know, which are in your city, town, or village. You can ask your parents, you can ask your neighbors, you can ask many people about it, or you can simply find more about your city, town, or village by researching on it or looking up at it for looking for it at internet. Have you ever wished that you can grow up in a hurry, or you could grow up older very fast? And if you ever felt that or feel that, you can give your reason about it and can discuss about it with your friends, with your families. It can be a nice story of your own. Now we start the chapter. Mr. Willy Wonka begins by inventing Wonka Vite, which makes people younger. But Wonka Vite is too strong. So, some people disappear because their age becomes minus. One person becomes minus 87, which means he's got to wait 87 years before he can come back. So, here in this paragraph, you can see that Mr. Willy Wonka is an inventor who invented a potion named Wonka Vite. And what is that it will do? It will make people younger. But Wonka Vite is too strong. So, some people also disappeared because their age becomes minus. They become minus 10, minus 11, minus 87, which just made them disappear from this world. So now it's time for Mr. Willy Wonka to invent something new so that Wonka Vite had made people disappear can be changed. Mr. Wonka said, "So once again I rolled up my sleeves and set to work. Once again I squeezed my brain searching for the new recipe. I had to create age to make people older, oldest. Ha ha! I cried, for now the ideas were beginning to come." So here Mr. Wonka is talking to Charlie. So he rolled up his sleeves. He rolled his sleeves of his shirt and started working on the idea to make a potion to make people older. Once again I squeezed my brain. Once again he started searching about the new recipe that he had to create to make people older. For now, the ideas were beginning to come, and as he started thinking, the ideas beginning to pop in his mind. What is the oldest living thing in the world? What lives longer than anything else? Mr. Wonka asked Charlie that what is the oldest thing he can think about in this world that lives longer than anyone else or anything else. Charlie said, a tree? Right you are, Charlie, but what kind of tree? So he asked, what kind of tree? As there are so many trees in this world. He said, not the Douglas fir, not the oak, and not the cedar. So these are the kind of trees. These are some kind of trees: Douglas fir, oak, and cedar. And Mr. Wonka said, these are not the oldest trees we can think about. No, no, my boy. It is a tree called the bristlecone pine that grows upon the slopes of Wheeler Peak in Nevada, USA. So he says that the bristlecone pine that grows upon the slopes of Wheeler Peak, which is in Nevada, in USA, those are the trees which can live up to 4,000 years old. This is a fact, Charlie. He told Charlie about it. He told that bristlecone pines are the oldest trees we can find. This is a fact, Charlie. Ask any dendrochronologist you like and look that word up in the dictionary when you get home. Will you please? So, Mr. Willy Wonka told Charlie that the bristlecone pines are approx 4,000 years old, and it's a fact. You can ask any dendrochronologist. So, who are dendrochronologists? The people who finds out about the age of a tree. Those are dendrochronologists. And he also said this to Charlie to look this word up in the dictionary when he gets home. So that started me off. I jumped into the grade class elevator and rushed all over the world collecting special items from the oldest living things. So Mr. Willy Wonka jumped into his grade class elevator and rushed all over the world collecting special items which he thought about of the oldest living things. A pint of sap from a 4,000-year-old bristlecone pine, the tail of 51-year-old horse in Arabia, the whiskers of a 36-year-old cat called Crumpets, an old flea which had lived on crumpets for 36 years. He also collected tail of a 207-year-old giant rat from Tibet, the black teeth of a 97-year-old grimalkin living in a cave on Mount Popocatépetl, and the knuckle bones of a 700-year-old catalu from Peru. So here you can also see there are different words which are imaginary, like Popocatépetl. So you can see that the writer had included many imaginary words that are fun to say and like tongue twisters for us. And it's fun to include these kind of words in our text, as it's kind of hard to say but are also fun to pronounce. Now let's see the comprehension check of the chapter we just have read. First, choose the right answer. First, Mr. Willy Wonka is A. a cook, B. an inventor, C. a manager? You just have read about Mr. Willy Wonka. So you have to choose from the options. Who is he? Is he a cook? Is he an inventor? Or is he a manager? Second, Wonka Vite makes people A. older, B. younger. So Wonka Vite is a potion that Mr. Willy Wonka invented. So you have to go back up to the chapter and see, is Wonka Vite invented for to make people older or to make people younger? Third, Mr. Wonka wants to invent a new thing which will make people A. younger, B. older. Mr. Wonka started an adventure to invent a new potion to change the effect Wonka Vite made on people. So you have to choose the option which you think suits better to describe the new thing that he wanted to make. Second, can anyone's age be a minus number? What does minus 87 mean? So you have to think about this question and have to write about your thoughts. And what do you think minus 87 mean? Third, Mr. Wonka begins by asking himself two questions. What are they? Mr. Wonka started thinking about the ideas to make new things. So he started by asking two questions from himself. What are they? So you have to write it down here. So we have completed half the chapter in this video, and I hope that you enjoyed the whole video. We will continue the rest of the chapter in next video. Thank you for watching this, and I really hope that you enjoyed all of it. So